Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you on this national seminar on parenting, schooling, and cognition. Now, before the commencement of the program, let us seek the blessings of God of success and prosperity for the success of this program with this Ganesh Vandana.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा
Thank you, all of you. Nelson Mandela once said, "Our children are the rock on which our future will be built, our greatest asset as a nation." Thus, holistic development of a child is immensely vital. Amongst all the developments, cognitive development is an important dimension. Parenting and schooling do play a significant role in developing the cognition of a child. Various components of schooling such as pedagogical process, socio-cultural practices, language, etc. are said to have an influence on cognitive abilities of learners. At the same time, parenting acts as the bridge between these two correlated academic components. Thus, it is always the thrust area of researchers of cognitive science to study the interplays in different demographic and educational setup. Today's program, Schooling, Parenting and Cognition, is thus organized by four different educational institutions, namely ETEI Baripata, DIET Mayurbhanj, Brajrajnagar College Jharsuguda, and Alia University, West Bengal, to work with a common goal of resurgence of quality academic practices. For this, we have invited intellectuals across the country, and our galaxy of intellectuals consists of Professor Ajit Mohanty, former professor and ICSSR National Fellow, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi; Professor Nityananda Pradhan, Principal RI Bhopal; Professor B.N. Ponda, Dean of Research, RI Bhubaneswar; Professor Gauramba IP, Head of Department of Education, RI Bhubaneswar. Along with it, on our dais, we also have Dr. Purnachandra Brahma sir, Principal, Guide Gauru Maisani; Dr. Sachidananda Bakshi sir, Principal, Brajrajnagar College; Dr. Jamaluddin, Head of Department of Education, Alia University, West Bengal. We also have Dr. Tapas Kumar Nayak, Assistant Director TE and SCRT Odisha; Dr. Sudarshan Santra sir, Principal, Government ETI Baripada; and Dr. Biswajit Kawari sir, Administrative Bursar of Brajrajnagar College, Odisha. So now I would like to request Dr. Purnachandra Brahma sir uh, to please introduce us with the guest. Please, sir.
Namaskar. Good morning, India. It's my pleasure. I am Dr. Purnarama, presenting something about our distinguished speakers of the day. And we have also 2 days program, but for this day we have four distinguished persons. Professor Ajit Kumar Mahanti. Friends, what I'll say about this personality? PhD from Alberta University, working as an educational psycholinguist regarding the multilingual education, language policy, education of indigenous group. Having at least 42 years of teaching experience, friends, perhaps many of us have not born. Friends, if we say about MLE in India and abroad. First, the name came Ajit Kumar Mahanti. And you know, this person have 180 publications. Oh my God. You just see 8 books on multilingual education. And friends, you know, I feel very great here that he is a person who has visited 37 countries as a visiting professor. And so many things it's not possible to say, but he is Professor Ajit Kumar Mahanti. Let's give him a big hand to be with us for this program. Sir, welcome. Namaskar, sir. We have another distinguished personality from Odisha, Professor Nityananda Pradhan. Friends, starting from the school education to the professor, you cannot imagine what as a personality he is. Seeing the child psychology from the school level to the child psychology of the students in TTIs, just see. Very simple person, always try to give the maximum to the students, and we feel very proud of him. He has experience of teaching in different RIs, even also by a diet, even also as a teacher. So see, what is the topic is today? Parenting, schooling, and cognition. See how this person can give a better thought to all the viewers in this program. And if I say his career, his work culture, it's a big list. So I cannot go for all the point by point because he is he. So friends, welcome Professor Nityananda Pradhan, presently Principal RI Bhopal. Give him a big hand and with all respect. Welcome sir to the program. What I say this about this personality, Professor Bhujendranath Panda, and I feel very great that I work with him. His blessing is always with us. And when we talk of any research work in India, beyond India, Professor Bhujendranath Panda, a simple, very affectionate personality who has always academic excellence, whether you say multilingual education, whether you say school education, any topic you come, he has the mastery of talking to the people, common people, coming down to the level of the people and speaks beautifully. And it can be justified today when he speaks before you. And I cannot give all these details things here. The professor in RI was the professor, but you see, he has the publication of national 100 papers, international, national seminars, 25 national seminar, 8 international seminar. Then you say we can justify here that we have requested or we invited those people who can give a lot of things to our all viewers in this program. Bhujendra sir, pranam and welcome to this program. I'll request everybody to give him a big hand to and to be with us. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the program. And today's another personality, Professor Gaurama IP. If I say Gaura and Amma, truly she is Amma. Ma'am, welcome to the program. What I say, you are MSc in psychology, MA in special education, PhD education learning disability, PG diploma in hearing impairness. You have lot of publications, national and international, and you have also visited Greece, Cyprus, Bangkok, having a lot of experience and giving talk to those students who are reading there. So, ma'am, you are today's our pride. So, welcome to the program, and I wish you all the best. So, give her a big hand, friends. This is our pleasure that we have got such distinguished personality in today's program. So, welcome, ma'am. Welcome, Gaurav, ma'am. And as Manalisa ma'am said, we have all the professors, principals, deputy directors, so many distinguished personality with us in Google Meet, as well as teachers, pupil teachers, parents, professors, teacher educators in YouTube also. So, all the friends, I wish you all the best and be with us for the whole day. You will get a lot of knowledge, lot of things. Also, in afternoon session, we have another three sessions simultaneously will be conducted, and at that present, you will present the things. All the viewers in India will listen to you and watch these people. So I'm very proud here that I I told about a bit about those personality. And as you know, parenting, schooling, and cognition. All the three things are most important, at least after the pandemic situation all over the world. Friends, in this program, I believe you, me, and all, let's learn together and give a lot of things to Indian education system. So thank you very much. And again, I welcome all in YouTube and Google Meet to be part with this program and enjoy this program. Thank you. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Brahma sir, for introducing our guests so energetically. We learned so many things about our guests. Now we'll proceed further, and I'll request our principal, Dr. Sachidananda Bakshi sir, to welcome our guests. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, Madam Monalisa. Good morning to everyone present over here. I am Dr. S.N. Bakshi, Principal, Brajraj Nagar College, Brajraj Nagar, under Sambalpur University. My domain subject is economics. At the outset, on behalf of this organizing forum of this national seminar, Parenting, Schooling and Cognition, Diet Mayurbhanj, ETEI Baripada, Department of Education's Alia University, West Bengal, and Brajraj Nagar College, I would like to extend a hearty welcome to all these dignitaries, the participants present over here across the countries. I am thankful to this forum for giving me an opportunity to welcome the towering personalities of this seminar. At the
Pardon me,
outset,
sir.
I would like to
Pardon me, sir. Your face
welcome.
is not visible. Your face. Yeah. Now it's okay. Yes, sir.
I am in the field, madam. Huh?
Okay, sir.
Huh. I would like to, at the outset, I would like to welcome the speaker, inaugural speaker of the inaugural address, Professor Ajit Mahanti ji, former professor of JNU, New Delhi. Professor Mahanti is a very noted personality in the field of education, and we'll listen to him in the course of our seminars. Then I would like to extend a hearty welcomes and warm welcomes to the keynote address speaker, Professor N.N. Panda, Principal, Regional Institute of Education, Bhopal, NCRT. Professor Panda is equally an eminent personality in the field of education. All the teachers, professors in the field of education know him very well for his clarity over the subject. Then I would like to welcome the chief speaker of the seminar, Professor B.N. Panda ji, Dean of Research, Regional Institute of Education, Bhubaneswar, NCRT. Then I would like to welcome to the guest of honor of the seminar, Professor Guaramma IP, Regional Institute of Engineering, Bhubaneswar, NCRT. Actually, our esteemed, the coordinator of this seminar, our Madam Mona Lisa, she has left no stone unturned personally to organize these seminars. Uh, I am really thankful to him and this organizing committee. And before concluding my welcome address, I would like to uh, end my. I would like to uh, make this seminar a vibrant, interactive, collaborative, enjoyable. Thank you. Wishing you all a happy learning.
Thank you very much, sir, for welcoming our guests. Next, I would like to request Dr. Jamaluddin, sir, Head of Department of Education, Alia University, to brief us about this seminar. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I am Dr. Jamaluddin, Head of the Department of Education, Alia University, West Bengal. Honorable delegates, participants, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all of you. It's my privilege to address you on behalf of the National Seminar on Parenting, Schooling, and Cognition. The program is jointly organized by four different educational institutes working with same goals of quality academic practices. This seminar provides a beautiful platform for thinkers and practitioners of education and other allied disciplines across the globe to share their views on different issues on parenting, schooling, and cognition. This seminar will cover various dimensions as well as sub-themes, namely language learning and multilingual education, issues of multi-layered classrooms, teachers' role in knowledge construction, social and cognitive consequences of schooling, assessment and evaluation of learning achievement, school community relationship, ICT and instructional process, teachers' role in changing educational scenario, National Education Policy 2020 and school education, professional ethics and issues in teaching profession. In this seminar, participants are students, research scholars, teacher educators, college and university teachers from various parts of our country. We will have the opportunity to listen to our distinguished experts on both the days of the seminar. I am confident that the discussion held during the seminar will lead us to important technical conclusions. We expect warm participation from all of you on both the days. In conclusion, I would like to wish you all, on behalf of the seminar, every success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jamaluddin, sir, for acquainting us with the themes of the seminar. Now, I would like to now the time has arrived for which all of us are waiting for. Uh, Let us now listen to the inaugural address of Professor Ajit Mahanti, sir, former professor and ICSSR National Fellow, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Please, sir.
Um, Let me at the outset greet all of you and wish you the best for the new year and beyond. I'm happy that four very distinguished educational institutions have joined together to organize this national seminar. I'm also happy that there is a distinguished group of speakers and people whom I have known very well through my professional interactions, Dr. Brahma, Professor Pradhan, Dr. Tapas Naik, Dr. Jamaluddin, and Professor Panda, and all of you. Once again, I thank you for this opportunity. Now, I would like to speak on language schooling and cognitive development. What do parents need to know? I would speak for about 45 minutes. That's the time that was given to me, but I know that you probably have a very tight program as usual, but I will try to finish in time. My understanding of parents and parental concern is mostly through nearly 5 decades of my work with tribal communities, beginning with the Kond community of Fulbani, and then I have worked almost with a large number of communities, tribal communities in Odisha, in Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Chhattisgarh, and some other areas in India. Often we assume that tribal parents probably are not aware, or they do not take much interest in the education of their children or development of their children. I think that's a wrong assumption. Parents, regardless of whether they belong to the tribal communities or to the upper strata of the society, they all have a theory of development. You know. I think we need to request others to sort of switch off their audio. Anyway, but parents do have a theory of um, children and children's development. They primarily work on that. Theories are different, I am not going into that. But often when parents, particularly middle class parents, when they seek counseling about development of their children, sadly, what is noticed is that it's the parents who have a problem rather than children, actually. So in most cases, it's the parents who need counseling rather than the children themselves. But when parents wonder as to why, in spite of their best intentions, in spite of their best efforts, why is it that the parents are, children are not developing the way they should? You know, there are, if you look into child parenting theories, there are two primary models of parenting. One is the model of a sculptor, somebody who takes a piece of stone which has its own characteristics, something like the genetic makeup of a child, the biological makeup of a child, and then they carve out of it the kind of image or kind of sculpture that they want to carve out. Therefore, parents are like stone sculptors who bring out of a piece of stone the image of their own imagination, their own thinking. This particular view assumes that parents have all the control and they know what they're doing and all that. And eventually they will also succeed in bringing their imagination out in form of a child who grows up to be an adult in the society. The other model is a model of a gardener. The child, it's like a gardener. The parent is like a gardener who provides the conditions for growth. You plant a seed or you plant a plant and um, give it water, give it proper soil, fertilizers, and necessary care, and the plant grows. Now, this model of a gardener is more appropriate because regardless of what the gardener does to the plant, the gardener does not control everything. In a garden, if a gardener has planted, let's say, 100 plants of roses, it's not that all plants will grow to the same beauty or same productivity and all that. Therefore, my personal view about parenting is that parents are like gardeners. They put in their best effort. But whether or not a child will grow exactly as parents expected is not guaranteed and doesn't quite often happen. That's what frustrates parents very often. Primarily, this happens primarily because development of a child depends on large number of conditions, large number of almost uncountable number of conditions, starting from the biological makeup, um, the genetic inherited traits in a child, to the kind of early child's mood development or what is called development of emotional components in a child, and then various other growing spheres of influences going into the school, into the teachers, into the friends, and into the media and the social conditions, neighborhood, and large number of factors. Therefore, parents may be trying to do their best, but it's not always possible that parents will bring up a child or they have a child who grows up to be an adult exactly as expected. So that I think is something that we need to keep in mind, that parents do not control the outcomes completely. They probably have influence on the outcome, yes, definitely, but they do not control the outcomes completely because development, cognitive development as well as human development, are multifactorial. There are large number of factors which operate. And also, parents have a diminishing control over the child's development. Maybe early on, past few weeks, parents, mother in particular, have a larger control over a child because child is biologically dependent. But as the child grows up, the control is never the same. The control gradually gets diminished. So we need to understand that if, when we talk about parenting, it's not that we can hand over a prescription to the parent and hope that everything will be fine. It doesn't happen like that. But one can perhaps educate a child, a parent, inform a parent as to what are the conditions which are conducive to proper development of a child. And hopefully the parents would be able to implement or bring forward the conditions that the child needs for development, and accordingly child perhaps would have a higher probability of developing the way the parents expect him or her to develop. But we also need to understand that parental control is shared. It's unfortunate that in a society like ours, we talk about parenting as such. Because a child's development in our kind of a social condition, such as the joint family and all that, the traditions, Indian traditions, it's not just the parents. Wherever possible. I have described grandparents are vanishing influences. Gradually the grandparents are getting reduced or getting moved out of the center of the child's development to the periphery, which is rather unfortunate, but we will not talk about that as such. There is one other aspect of parenting that I want to focus, just to bring that point up, is that mothering is not parenting. Very often, if you look into the early literature, even the Western literature, very often child development is associated with mothering, the quality of mothering and all that, mother care, mother's education, everything else. Now, what is becoming increasingly evident is that it's not just the mother, it's also the father, and the joint collaborative role of the parents that is more important. So one has to, so few factors. One is the role of the joint family, the role of the extended family, and the adults in the family, role of the grandparents in particular, and the role of the father. These have been relatively less examined or less emphasized in the literature, which is rather unfortunate. So that said about parenting, the background. I would now come to my focus. My focus would be primarily on language. I have been, as has been told by Dr. Brahma and others, I have been trained as an applied educational psycholinguist. My emphasis has always been on language, particularly on mother tongue based education, multilingual education, about which I'm not going to talk today because I thought the focus is slightly different. But language would remain my focus. Now, when it comes to language, why is it that we emphasize language as an aspect of parenting? I will eventually come to the role of language. I'm sure a large number of people here know the significance of language in early education of children. In fact, the primary education is mostly characterized as education in language, including math and all that. That's basically language education. But my focus here on parenting and language is that when you look at different aspects of parenting, what kind of parenting style, people always have asked that question. What kind of parenting style is most advantageous, most conducive to the proper development of a child, cognitive development in particular? Now, there are a lot of different theories, different views on it. One of the early views, I think about 40, 50 years back, that a study of Harvard University, Burton White, sort of a longitudinal study, which tried to find out what kind of children grow up to be more competent or less competent, and what are the differences in the parenting style of those days. Actually, the emphasis was more on mothering style, but still, broadly it was talked about as parenting style. What kind of parenting style is associated with children growing up to be more competent, cognitively more competent and effective? There are three things that were talked about. First and most important thing was that a good parent provides more language input to the child. And Burton White's study actually showed that good mothers do not even wait for a child to learn to speak or learn the language. They speak to the child right from day one. Whenever they are bathing the child, they are changing the diapers or the cleaning the child up, or when they are feeding the child or putting the child into sleep, they constantly keep on talking to the child as if the child is a legitimate participant in a conversation with the mother or with the parents. Therefore, single most important variable that differentiates a good parent from not so good parent or effective from not effective parent is the amount of language input, which should be a matter of concern because with modernity, with the modern ways of life, unfortunately, parents emphasize so much the learning and achievement of the children that they do not have a heart to heart conversation with their children. In one of our studies, we found some of these parents in the middle and upper class, educated parents, professional parents, do not even talk to their children about 10 to 15 minutes a day, talk in the real non-formal, informal sense. They may be talking to the child, okay, come and take your bath and go to school, do your homework, have you done it, have you not done this, and that kind of thing, which are related to children's education and achievement. But a real talk about the child, about child's experience, about child's thought and all that. Is these are certain things which unfortunately the parents don't talk to the children anymore, which is quite wrong. I think if education and educators have a role in shaping the behavior of the parents or in influencing the behavior of the parents, we should emphasize that parents talk to their children, not just talk about their achievement or schooling or uh, getting the first rank in the class and all that, but talking to the child, knowing, for example, what are child's feelings, knowing, for example, who are child's friends, what is it that child does like and doesn't like, and so on. So that's first thing. Second is the parents who are more effective, they structure the time of their children. That when children are engaging in certain kind of activities, uh, children, good parent, mother or father or even adults, I'm including within parenting a broad range of activities in considering our joint family system, a broad range of adults. Because see, regardless of whether adults want it or not, adults do educate a child. European philosophers have talked about human children or human beings as animal educandum. Animals who not only can be but must be educated in order to become an adult or social adult. Therefore, parental role or role of adults in the family are inescapable. You are influencing that process. You are educating or miseducating the child. Therefore, it's necessary for the parent to not only allow the child to spend time, whatever the child is doing on her own, but to structure the time as well as structure the activity. This is what you need to do, or you play with a purpose or with whatever, you know. So these are the three factors. Language is most important, and structuring the time as well as the activity. Because child, if you allow a child just to pass time, you probably do not get high level of achievement and cognitive development of a child. I'm, passing time. I just want to break the monotony here and tell you about a joke. Kushwant Singh, I'm sure all of you have heard of Kushwant Singh. Late Kushwant Singh was a great journalist, writer, former editor of the Illustrated Weekly and all that. His parent was father was a farmer and had no education. So Kushwant Singh tells about his own thing whenever he went to the village. Other parents, and the farmers would ask his father, "What did your child pass? तुम्हारा लड़का क्या पास किया?" or whatever in Punjabi. And the father would say, oh, I do not know what he passed, लेकिन time pass किया. क्या pass किया I do not know, but time pass किया जरूर. So I think spending time is not important as such. For a child would pass time, but I think it's the role of the parents would be to structure that time. How does for what benefit or for what goal, what purposes does the child engage in certain kind of activity? Anyway, these are the three things. So now, why is language important? Why is it that we talk about large amount of language experience? Because children would learn the language anyway. We know, those of you who know about language development know should know that language development is inescapable. You cannot prevent a child from acquiring the language. And if a child is normal and has a normal hearing, the child would acquire the language or even languages to which the child is exposed. So, regardless of the conditions in which children grow up, children would acquire their language or languages by their fifth birthday all over the world. This is a very common parameter. By fifth birthday, a child is more or less competent using language almost to the level of an adult. The stylistic differences, vocabulary, and all that would change, but basics of being able to use a language um, in a way, sort of grammatically or in a rule governed manner, is still available to the child by the age of 5, regardless of the conditions in which the child grows up. Therefore, the question is, why is language so important? Because the child would learn language anyway. Language is important because um, what does it do to the mind of the child? We are talking about cognitive development. We are talking about development of the capacity to think and to reason, to engage in intellectual activities, engage in intelligent behavior. Now, what does it do to that? We all know that language is a means of communication. That's the minimum. Language allows all of us to express ourselves, our own thoughts, and also to understand the thoughts of others or the communication of others. That children do. But apart from that, we need to realize that language is the link between human cognition, human intelligence, human thinking, and the world outside. And the experience of a child, the cultural experience of a child within her own cultural milieu gets translated, gets stored in the mind of a child through language. If those of you who know about the distinction between Piaget's theory of cognitive development and role of language there, and where Vygotsky's obviously was much more emphatic on language, but primarily if you look at it, both from Piaget as well as Vygotskian perspectives, you will realize that uh, up to a point, a child's thought is pre-verbal. Maybe first 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years. But once this language starts getting acquired, thought becomes more and more verbal. You can do, all of you can engage in a small um, activity. Take a break, let's say maybe 20 minutes, 20 seconds, and try to think of something, whatever, think of something, some topic, and try to think without language. You will not be able to do it. So, as the child grows up, the thought process is completely captured by language. Even children, you may ask, what happens? What about children who do not have the usual language, such as spoken language? Even children who grow up knowing or developing what is called sign language, children um, who have hearing handicap, severe hearing handicap, they grow up as with sign language. Their thinking is also controlled by sign language. Sign language has the same linguistic characteristics as any other spoken language. Therefore, there is no distinction here between sign language or spoken language. Whatever language the child is using or learning, developing to learn, that those language or those languages completely gradually take over the thinking process. And what does that take over means? That means that language influences the way we think, how I solve my problem, how I plan my activities, how I engage in some kind of creative behavior and all that. Therefore, language actually regulates the thinking process. It's not just a medium of communication, but it's also a process or a sort of skill or ability which helps child's thought to be regulated. That's why it's important. It is also important because children know about their mind. We all, not just children, we all know about how our mind functions through language. All of us, because we have the language capacity, we know, for example, we reflect or think about our own mental processes. I, I try to remember things. I know how I remember. Oh no, maybe if I read something late into the night, I remember better because it's more quiet. But others may think no, early morning, learning early in the morning is more influential for remember better. So we all have some kind of idea about our own memory, our own learning style, our own functioning, our own problem solving styles, our own creativity and all that. Therefore, language is a medium of communication. It's a regulator of our thinking process, and it is something that allows me to reflect on my own thinking process. What has been, if you are into psychology literature, it is called metacognition. I cognize about my own cognition. I think about my own processes of knowing. Cognition is basically a process of knowing. But on the top of all this, there is one great advantage of language. It allows me to think about my own language. As I'm talking to you, I'm trying to monitor in my own process as to what I just told you, did it make sense or does it need further elaboration? We all talk when you are using, for example, let's say the driver took a right turn. Now, whether the sentence means driver actually turned to the right or that the driver turned correctly, That's ambiguous sentence. We all can reflect on what we heard. If I tell you that driver took a right turn, you can reflect and find out at some point or other that this sentence is potentially ambiguous. Therefore, being able to think about our own language is a great advantage because it helps me structure my own language. In fact, some psychologists, psycholinguists believe that some degree of meta linguistic skill is absolutely necessary because without that, a child would not be able to learn language. When we learn, when a child learns language, the child is able to correct himself. I think you may have noticed children who say something and then trace back, they know that this is probably either grammatically or factually wrong, they correct themselves. They monitor what they are talking about. We have done a lot of studies on how children understand multilingualism, multiple languages, and all that. We have seen that there is a great deal of monitoring that children engage in their linguistic interaction. So much so, but that there are stages. I have in my own research, I have talked about stages of development of children's thinking about multilingualism, their understanding of multilingualism, and all that multiple languages present in their environment. And I have shown that children go through stages, and by about 9 years of age, a child has a great deal of reflective skill on languages. Children, for example, know that some languages are less prestigious and some languages are more prestigious. Children, for example, know, regardless of whether they are in English medium schools or mother tongue medium schools, they know that English has a higher status and all that. It has implications for multilingual education and mother tongue based education, but I'm not talking about that right now. But children, what I'm trying to say is that starting from age of about 2 years to about 9, children do develop their ability to reflect on language or to what has been called to engage in meta linguistic skills. Now, this metalinguistic skill and all that the language does for us is important to remember, important to understand in order to ask a very fundamental question about schooling. I am now moving into schooling, from parenting to language to schooling. Very often, when it comes to language, we think that perhaps school has no role because by the time a child goes to school, formal schooling, about 6 years of age, 5 plus 6, child knows the language already. So very often, when particular this is important because often if you ask parents who prefer to send their children to English medium schools, they think that the child already knows the mother tongue, Odia or Santali or any other language. Child knows the mother tongue, and therefore why? Let the child go to school and learn a new language. Remember two things. One is language is not learned as such. Deliberate process of teaching. Language is more acquired in a normal setting. And by not sending a child to the mother tongue schools, mother tongue medium schools, you are preventing further development of a child, because child's language. Because we have to understand we say, okay, child knows the language. But what is it that a child knows? When child knows a language or few languages, by the time the child comes to school, child knows how to communicate. Child knows the social communication. Child is able to engage in communication with the parents, with the family members, with the members of the community. Child goes to the neighborhood area like a marketplace or something, and child is able to communicate, understand, and express herself. Now that is not enough. This is what I want to bring forth, which is basically, as those of you like Dr. Brahma and others who know about multilingual education, you would understand why I am talking, making this distinction here between what the child knows and what the child further learns about language in the school. Why is it important for the mother tongue to be continued? Because language, there are two aspects of knowing a language or learning a language, and this is related to the kind of four functions of language that I told you about. That what does language do to our to human mind? Okay. Now, what does child know? Child knows how to communicate. But there is one other aspect of language which is perhaps less emphasized in the early preschool or prior to schooling language development. That is, children know how to communicate, but they probably are not that proficient until then in terms of their using language for their cognitive and academic activities. So language has one aspect of language is basically social communication. What has been, those of you who know little bit about multilingual education, you know that the Jean Cummins and others talked about what is called a basic interpersonal communication skill, BICS, BICS. But that is not enough. Children also need to use language to control, have greater control, more effective control of their own thinking process. So something that you need a language in order to be able to control your mental processes, you need your language to control your academic activities. There are certain things that schools do which never happen in the informal home or community environment in which a child learns language. For example, let's take a simple example. There is a bottle with some water in it, somewhere near bottle or maybe a glass or a container. And mother tells the child, "Give me that bottle. I want to drink some water. Give me that bottle." Now, even if the child does not know the meaning of the word bottle or whatever the content is there, the child would still know because it is here and now. The communication is taking place in a context of here and now, and the child sees the bottle in front of her and therefore knows what is expected here. So, two aspects of the so-called the early communication or social communication skill of a child. One is that social communication is not cognitively very demanding because everything is present and it's easy for the child to understand. And it's also very much contextually embedded. It's right there in the context. What does the child do in the school? Child from Baripada or from any remote area of Baripada has a lesson on Delhi, for example, Delhi as a city or Mumbai as a city. Child has never seen that. Child has a lesson on train, on rail engine. Child has never been on a train. Or child has a lesson on phone. Child has never seen a phone, for example, or never used a phone. So, one thing that the schooling does is requires the child to go from the known to the unknown, to the realm of imagination, something that child has not experienced. And then the school requires the child to deliberately reflect on use of language. Mother or the parents in the family, or parents and the adults in the family, will never ask a child that can you just make a sentence with or make a sentence with the word sky. That the parents will never expect ask that. Parents engage in communication which is here and now. Maybe in the process the sky has come into their conversation. Maybe in the process tiger has come into their conversation. But that's not done. They don't ask child to make a sentence. A school requires a child to make a sentence and to reflect on that. You know, child not only forms a sentence, also reflects on it to find out if the sentence is correct or not. So these are just two examples. I can go on giving you more examples. But so what is happening? The child's language, which is there as in form of when the child comes to school, in form of basic interpersonal communication skill or ability to communicate socially appropriately, is not enough for language to be able to influence our cognitive development, influence my intelligent activities, influence my creativity, influence my problem solving behavior, and so on. So, we need the language to go to a higher level. And remember that the basic communication skill, social communication skill in the language is acquired quite early. So, if you send a child to English medium school, the child will also gradually learn, not take too much time, maybe 2 to 3 years. The child will learn how to communicate. In fact, most of our English medium children learn to communicate. Spoken oral English is done quite well. But what is not done is that the course of language being able to influence our cognitive activities, influence our academic activities, or what has been called by Jim Cummins and others as cognitive academic language skills, CALP, cognitive academic language proficiency. That doesn't develop quite well because CALP or the cognitive academic language proficiency has a slower rate of development, takes longer, takes about 8 years, 6 to 8 years at least, for a child with good education, for the child to develop cognitive academic language proficiency. So what happens with an English medium child whose mother tongue is something else?
My because it is a keynote address, I'll be touching all the three aspects. The title: parenting, schooling, and cognition. What research says. What Professor Ajit Mahanti said is also what research says, and that is about research in presentation. Let me tell you, I surveyed 42 ashram schools of Koraput district because I stayed long for 20 years in the district of Koraput, DAV College Koraput, where one UNICEF has stated the told that although multilingual, I have seen in some schools where 3 to 4 languages, and in one school I have seen near Jaipur, there are students they are with their home language, 5 home languages, and that was the scenario, and in most of the, particularly in the tribal area. So this is the situation of language learning in India, and now I'll be presenting some of the facts of Western world and almost similar facts that Professor Mahanti was delivering. The content of my presentation will be, first I will be telling what is parenting and parenthood, as he also made a difference that parenthood is not necessarily motherhood or mothering. Parenting is not mothering. I was listening. And the definition of a good parenting. Then I'll be also discussing the parenting styles, 4 parenting styles: authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and uninvolved. Then the research evidence regarding the parenting and children's schooling, and I'll be also separately presenting evidences about the authoritarian parentings on schooling, authoritative parenting, permissive parenting, and uninvolved parenting. And similarly, I will also be the second, that is parenting and children's cognitive development, parenting and cognition, and what are cognitive abilities. Then I will be also presenting research evidence. So in a nutshell, I can say that when I say parenting, schooling, and cognition, parenting, schooling, and cognition, here parenting as these are the three critical variables in this presentation, where parenting will be independent variable, and cognition or cognitive development of child, and schooling will be the dependent variable. How parenting influences schooling or parenting influence the cognitive abilities or cognitive development of the child. So this will be my presentation, taking these three variables again: parenting, schooling, and cognition. Parenting variable, and cognition and schooling as the dependent variable, both dependent variables. So let me tell you what is the parenting or parenthood. Raising of children and all the responsibility and activities that are involved in it. So it is not simply mothering, or that is that Professor Mohanty was telling, that it is not simply mothering. So here, taking all kinds of responsibility, starting from what is the responsibility at home, and taking them to school, and taking their responsibility of their education, and raising of a child by parents. And every parents world over, they want their children to go up, to go ahead in the particularly in the field of education. This is what is parenting in nutshell, or parenthood. And a good parenting so involves a great deal of consistency and routine, which gives children a sense of control. Focus on developing independence in children. Considers children's age and stage of development. Aims at socializing kids. Develops a growth mindset in kids rather than a mindset that child's intelligence is fixed. So these are some of the dynamic aspects of a good parenting. And one parenting size didn't fit all. So there are different parenting styles that are there. So coming to the parenting style, actually this idea of the parenting style is, I'll be discussing, that is Baumrin in the 1966. So he asks two questions: do parents show lots of affection or remain aloof? So these are the two fundamental questions. While we will be identifying the parenting styles, different parenting, four parenting styles. These parenting styles relates to these three questions: whether parents gives lots of affection or remain aloof, whether they expect blind obedience or encourage their children to ask questions, do they enforce limits or let the kind do as they please. There are parents, there are different ways of parenting. Some gives total freedom, some gives total control, and all that. So there are different ways that happens everywhere in the world, not only in India, everywhere in the world. So this is these parenting styles plays an important role in children's psychology and growth. So as I said, that are different parenting styles. So they lead to difference in children's growth. Uh, and accordingly, that Diana Baumrin, these are four parenting styles. One is authoritarian, then authoritative, permissive, and uninvolved. As I was telling, that there are different ways that the children are reared by their parents. So there are different parenting styles. Let us see what are these three parenting styles. So authoritarian parenting, the authoritarian parents, they expect their orders to be obeyed without question. The child will not question. They will simply uh, control, and they will give punishment, and they will control their kids. Control, punishment, order, obedience. So these are the things that are associated with authoritarian parenting. And authoritative parenting, they encourage their kids to be responsible, think themselves, and to consider the reason for rules. So they encourage their children to make them self-sufficient, to self-reliant. These are called authoritative parentings. Then permissive parentings, who are responsive and warm, good thing. They have a good to both good and bad, and they also reluctant to enforce any rule. They allow them to do whatever way they like. So they love their children. That is good, but they don't. They are reluctant to enforce anything. They leave them as they like. And another set of parents, who are called uninvolved parenting. They neither they provide any encouragement, any good thing or bad thing. They are not associated with anything that happens with the child. Little emotional support and fail to enforce standard or conduct. They are totally away from their children. So these are the four basic parenting style as proposed. And if you can see that these four parenting styles represent a continuum, means some parents might include both authoritarianism and authoritativeness. So there are parents also having the first two parenting styles in one parents. In one parent, we will find they are authoritarian and they are also authoritative. And there are some parents who might find themselves in a border between authoritativeness and. So these parenting styles, is not that there is no watertight compartments in these four different styles. There is a continuum. They represent a continuum. And authoritative parenting is considered the best, and uninvolved parenting are the worst. So you see, authoritarian parenting, that is different, but authoritative parenting, they are the best, who encourage the children and also think for themselves. So authoritative parenting style is considered to be the best, and uninvolved parenting is the worst parenting. So these are some facts about four different parenting styles. Then coming to parenting and children's schooling. What are the research evidence regarding different parenting styles? It is said that, as Professor Mahanti also has highlighted it, that parental involvement in education or in schooling of the children is a critical resource, and in their success in school. So we'll be seeing what are the different research evidences regarding the effect of different parenting styles on children's schooling. Literature says that different parenting style has led to confusion among the parents as regards to which one is the best parenting style. And it says that also research says that parental involvement relates positively to school achievement. positively to school achievement means school parenting is related to school achievement. The school achievement, if it is good, then there is definitely a role of parents. And all parents want their children. That was we have had it in the previous from the previous speaker. All parents across the world, they want their children to succeed in school, but it never happens with all parenting styles. And uh, there is also vast research evidences that parents' involvement in children's education lead to better behavioral and academic outcomes. There are a host of researches, and that you can see. And different parenting style contribute to differently to a children's or child's schooling. That is also there. Then coming to, let us see what is the effect of authoritarian parenting on child's learning or child's schooling. As we have discussed, who are authoritarian parents? They have a high degree of control and also very low level of warmth. You see, authoritarian parents, high degree of control, day and night. They control their timing, they control their activities, and also very low level of warmth, love and affection. So high control, low warmth. That is the fundamental to or critical to authoritarian parents. And rule out effective discussion between parents. They don't want to discuss with their children. Expect strong obedience from their children, and corporal punishment, punitive discipline. They punish the children. Then there is no discuss. They don't want to discuss with their children. Speculative discussion, which places more pressure on the children. They want to talk with their children. Then they set strict rules and monitor their action every time. Then you can see there are numerous studies. They have found that authoritarian parenting style is negatively associated with the academic achievement of the children. That is very obvious. Authoritarian parenting is negatively associated with the academic achievement of the children. There are numerous studies. Then coming to children with authoritarian parents tended to exhibit anxious and withdrawn behavior, lack of self-reliance and self-confidence. So these are some of the effects of authoritarian parenting. Lack of withdrawn behavior, lack of self-reliance, self-confidence among the children. There are numerous studies that is cited. Then also, large body of research also says that parental monitoring leads to lower academic performance. When I am talking about parental monitoring, I am talking about parental monitoring of authoritarian parents. Monitoring of authoritarian parents. That leads to low academic performance. These are the studies. And they put excessive pressure. They interfere with their studies. That also leads to lower academic competence and consequently lower academic achievement. So their interference negatively affects the academic competence of the their words. So this is so there is also study. Let us come to authoritative parenting, which is considered as the best parenting style. The best parenting style. They say they make a balance between warmth and authoritative warmth and strictness. There is a balance. They provide some warmth to the child and also control. There is a combination of warmth and control, but they make a balance. That is the general attitude of authoritative parents. They love their children and also they try to also give little control over the children. Encouragement and parental monitoring. They encourage their children to go to school or to study. They encourage their children, and also they monitor their education. And as a result of which, that gives the positive impact on children's achievement. Encouragement and monitoring. These are the characteristics of authoritative parenting. And as compared to other parenting styles, the children of authoritative parents tend to be high academic achievers. As I said, this is the best parenting style. Warmth and control. There is a balance. Not too much control, not too much warmth. And then these authoritative parents hold high expectations of their children and consistently encourage them. It is not only that they don't have any high expectation. They expect their children to do, but they don't control. They don't scold. They encourage their children to achieve. Achievement motivation is said to be high in case of the children of authoritative parents. And they are positively associated with higher achievement. As I said, in a nutshell, this authoritative parenting style is the best parenting style, as research has shown. And they say that the students achieve better than their peers. This is also another study. And they suggest that the three central characteristics of authoritative parenting: warmth, control, and democracy. It's a very combination of three things. They love, they give affection, they also provide control, they exert control, and also they give freedom. So these are the three things that are seen in normally with authoritative parenting. And this is the democratic achievement for discipline and individual. Why they give the democratic approach, follow democratic approach? To make them disciplined and respect their individuality. They maintain open relationship with the children, and they discuss with the children. They resolve with the children. Like uninvolved parents, they don't discuss with the children. So these are the three important characteristics of authoritarian parenting. Authoritarian parents and authoritative parents. They more enthusiastic about school, often found engaging in effective learning strategies. They also guide them in learning and do anything for their higher academic results. So this is the best parenting style. And students of authoritative parents have values like stronger work orientation. So you see, these are the outcomes of this authoritative parenting: stronger work orientation, greater engagement in classroom activities, higher educational aspirations, because they encourage to aspire more, they expect more from their children, more positive feeling about the school, they like to go to school, greater time spent on homework, they spend of themselves in homework, more positive academic self-conceptions, lower level of school misconduct, like not doing homework, like doing some kind of mischief in the school, such as cheating or copying. These are less in case of them. So these are some good outcomes of authoritative parenting. And the supportiveness and encouragement of the authoritative parenting style, with a sense they provide their children with a sense of initiative and confidence in relation to learning. They become more confident, self-reliant. So all the good qualities develop in the children in case of authoritative parenting style. And coming to permissive parenting style, it is kind of laissez-faire. Those who provide little control over their children and high level of warmth. High level of warmth. Only love and affection. Too much love and affection. No control. whatever you like, you do. Only whatever my child does is okay. High level of warmth and little control. So this is the permissive. They give permission for everything. Even he or she doesn't want to go to school, they uh, don't control or don't force them to go to school or don't ask them to go to school. So punishment is very rare. They don't give any punishment to the child. They give you maximum opportunity to make their own decisions. The child, whatever child wants, they do, and they have a low expectation. Let him do or her do whatever he likes. They don't put any targets, or they don't expect things from their children. They don't have any rules and regulations for the child. That this time you go to school, or you do homework, or you study, and all things. So they are very casual and easygoing approach. So this is called permissive parenting. Children here. So what is the outcome of such children? Outcome of such kind of parenting? Such children are less self-reliant and less tolerant of frustration. Now you can see that what is suicide is happening. This is they cannot tolerate. Sometimes if you say something about them, they go for committing suicide. They become frustrated. They cannot tolerate, because from the childhood they are given all kinds of opportunity, all kinds of freedom, and they are intrinsically less motivated. They are less motivated to learn, thus lacking doing their learning tasks. They are little engaged in their learning tasks. So this permissive parenting is negatively associated with higher academic achievement as a result of the lack of parents' control of their children. When parents they lost their control, their academic achievement is low, and they are non-punitive. When authoritarian parents are punitive, and these permissive parents are non-punitive, they don't punish, and whatever their children desire, they do. That harms their potential. So some child has some potential, they cannot develop the potential because parents, they don't encourage. They give maximum freedom. And coming to the last kind of parenting, that is uninvolved parenting. They are not. They don't take care of their children. They are away mentally and particularly mentally from their children, from their children's life. They don't bother what they do or what they don't do. And low level of warmth and control. Neither they control nor they give affection. So there is a like we saw in authoritative parenting, warmth and control. There is a balance. Warmth and control, there is a balance. But here there is no warmth, no balance. And the research is very meager for about the outcome or effectiveness of uninvolved parenting or impact of uninvolved parenting on their children's education, because they also never participate in research activity. And it is said that 43, one study says, about 43% of parents, uninvolved parents, they never participate in school activities. When parent-teacher meeting and all kinds of things. When the school wants to discuss with their parents, they don't attend. Uninvolved. So these are when they need do that, because they are annoyed of that. And as I said, there is a deficiency of research about the effect on this parenting style than any other, because they don't take part in research. So there is a little known about this parenting style, about on education of their children or on schooling. Uh, but it is evident that the children of this kind of parents, they see lack of direction in everyday life, what to do, what not to do. So this type of parenting, it is suggested that this type of parents, they need counseling to guide their words, how to guide their words. Then coming to the next part of the presentation, which I will be taking only 5-6 minutes, on the parenting and children's cognitive development. What is the evidence of research? So it is already said that by language is related to cognition, and parents play a key role in language learning. And not only this is told by Indian researchers like Professor Ajit Mahanti. It is also seen across the globe. Well-developed cognitive abilities for the children to have most optimal and outcome required well-developed cognitive abilities. So parenting is related to promotion of cognitive abilities. And these are reflected in different aspects of life. Language learning is one aspect. While doing any activity, educational activities, cognition is involved. And you see, let me tell you, acquiring basic literacy or foundational, we talk of in our new education policy, foundational literacy and numeracy in learning. These cognitive activities are fundamental. And also to motivate the child, encourage the child in learning. So cognitive, let me tell you about what are the cognitive abilities. These are some mental processes like attention, memory, language, reasoning. It is about thinking. Professor Mahanti was talking about metacognition, thinking about thinking how to think. How did I solve this problem? So this is of course a higher level of cognitive ability. Now we also talk about cognitive lower, that is higher order thinking skills and lower order thinking skills. Lower order thinking skills like memorization and all, remembering. And higher order thinking is your imagination and analysis and all that. So they are not the knowledge we possess. So knowledge are your cognitive ability are the knowledge, what subject knowledge we have, but they are the tools to gain knowledge. Your imagination, your attention, your reasoning, these are the tools of acquiring knowledge. Language is not only acquired, knowledge is also can be acquired through this cognitive process. And some parents are of habit or are of impression that intelligence is hereditary and fixed. And there are other kinds of parents, they say that that moment the child is born and some even before the intelligence they possess. So there are many theories of learning. Professor Mahanti was also referring to those theories of learning and theories of cognitive development for understanding or for promoting children's cognitive abilities. We must have understanding about theories of learning, particularly the school authorities or the educators, teacher educators must have understand two things: theories of learning and cognitive development. And in this, I refer to three theories of learning on which I have some work. As a social cognitive learning theory, that learning happens in a social context through interaction. And Piaget's stage theory of cognitive development. Piaget says that there are 4 stages of cognitive development, and the role of parents also is there in those stages. So, your the 4 stages of Piaget's theory, and Oswald's theory also of meaningful verbal learning, and his derivative, that is advanced organizer model in cognitive processing. These 3 theories are very well taken in India. And now most of the researches are also, many good researches have been conducted on Oswald's advanced organizer model and Piaget's stage theory, and also Vygotsky cognitive learning theory. Of course, that when this national curriculum framework 2005 came, then now many researches, our researchers are doing at the postgraduate level for academic degree also, this on social cognitive learning theory. So every educators must understand to promote children's cognitive abilities, the stage theory of Piaget, social cognitive theory of Vygotsky, constructivist theory of Vygotsky, and about meaningful learning theory of Oswald. So here, on the basis of that, you can see most of the things that happen. Parents can support children through techniques like scaffolding and encouraging them to create, not just to consume. Scaffolding. Scaffolding is also used in Oswald's theory of meaningful learning or advanced organizer model. It's also Vygotsky also make use of the term scaffolding. It means that whatever the child learns through his previous knowledge. There is a cognitive structure. So the children's cognitive structure has to be developed, and this is also fundamental to teaching learning process in schools. Scaffolding. Only I'll take 2-3 minutes. Research on impact of parenting classes, children who are preschool age or younger has been less studied than those for school age children. So, impact of parenting classes on preschool learner is less studied than on school age children. And that is one outcome of research. And it is said that when mothers they participate parent-child intervention, some program or parenting classes, and the small children, mother, they displayed substantially improved cognitive development. So, parenting or mothering has also, or not exactly parenting and mothering, of course, is not the same thing. But when parents attend parenting classes, the cognitive development is improved. And another finding is the parents, preschoolers whose parents participate in the parent education program, again, whether father or mother, they display significantly higher intelligence, language ability, and social development. So this intelligence or general mental ability, language ability, these are all related to cognitive development of the child and also social development. And parents who attend parenting classes stimulated their, so these the researches, they talk about the effect of attending parenting classes, how to take care of the children. That happens in Western world. And those who didn't attend, there is this is a comparative study. The cognitive development of the children whose parents attend parenting classes is higher. And these are also the same thing. This is the first study that's mentioned. And almost these things done, these researches have been conducted in with different parents of different socioeconomic background. So they say participation of mothers of low economic families in a program to improve verbal interaction showed significant cognitive development. So in a nutshell, we can say that the parents who are oriented on parenting, the children's cognitive development is higher. The cognitive abilities are higher, whether it is language ability or intelligence. So in a way, parenting has a significant role in the on the cognitive development of the children. So I think this is the last slide. Again, this is a study on preschoolers. Preschoolers parents who participated parental education program. They showed at the end of the program significantly higher intelligence, means children whose parents attend this program, language ability, intelligence, language ability, and social development. Again, so perhaps this is the repetition. And studies, there are a host of studies that show the positive effects of parents as teachers program on a large class. When parents are teachers, parents as teachers, they are that's a positive effect on child's learning. So these are only the references. So I wanted to only present what are the research evidences on different parenting style, and I have already made it clear that I took parenting as independent variable, and of course all these studies are, most of the studies are descriptive studies, ex post facto research studies that I've done, and also cognitive development or cognitive development of cognitive ability as the dependent variable. These are the two dependent variables. So all these studies are centered around that. With this, I thank all the organizers very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for enlightening us with your meticulous observations on the 4 different types of parenting styles and their effect on a child's cognition, supported by an array of empirical evidences. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today. Dear audience, we are very fortunate to have amongst us an expert in research, not only of national fame but also of international reputation. Thus, I would like to invite chief speaker of today's session, Professor B.N. Ponda sir, to address the August gathering. Please, sir.
Thank you very much. Respected, because of time constraint, I will not show anything. I will just verbally present for 30 minutes. So, respected Professor Ajit Mahanti ji, and my friend Professor Pradhan, Principal, RI Bhopal, and Principal of Brotherhood College Chairperson, and Professor Gaurama, my colleague and head of the department, Sudarshan Santaraji, Purnachandra Brahma, Monalisa Das, Priya Ranjan Das, Jamaluddin, Tapos Babu, and all the respected colleagues, those who are participating and attending this national discussions or national seminar, parenting, schooling, and cognition. So I'll just discuss that in the present context, because the Indian school systems with more than 104 million of schools and more than 230 million enrollment is one of the largest and the most complex school systems in our own country as compared to China. To maintain quality, to maintain diverse culture and heritage across the length and breadth of the country, it requires a lot of consistent engagement on the part of all the stakeholders of the country. So providing access to all and maintaining quality is the most important paradigm at the present context. So all of us, we have already known that National Education Policy 2020 has emerged, and 4 different stages of school education: foundational, preparatory, elementary, and secondary.
Pardon me, sir. So we are
And
not
you have
able
to see all these stages So different priorities have been given emphasis. If you have to see the foundation stage, so activity-based
Pardon me, sir.
learning or play-based learning or
Sir, we are
ethics.
not able to see you. Please enable your camera.
Okay. Because I don't want to show me.
Not to
So
worry.
anyway,
Thank you,
so
sir.
what I mean to say is that, so in the foundation stage, so we can say that play, activity-based learning, and curiosity, ethics, and personal and public hygiene have been given much more emphasis. Similarly, if you have to see the preparatory stage, even the play-based interactions, related activities, and a little bit introduction to textbooks and student competencies have been given emphasis. And if you have to see the middle stage, so interactions or introduction to the school subjects or one of the vocational skills is introduced from the class 6 to 8, and most subject like mathematics, science, and arts, all the things have been given emphasis at the middle stage. And if you have to go to the secondary stage and multidisciplinary study and focus on depth and critical thinking, student choice, flexibility, so many things have been emphasized at the high school stage. So looking into the ground realities. So what should be the teachers? Because 21st century school education needs to be capable of teaching students how to deal with the unpredictability and change. A lot of changes are taking place in the society. Borderless experiences in the learning, or world economy has already been changed, or global scenario has been changed. Peace and harmony has been given a lot of emphasis. Health education, fitness movement has given emphasis. Digital learning have been given emphasis. Or we can say that interdependency of one state to another state or one country to another country. Or we can say that different type of activities have been given emphasis in the present context in the 21st century. So looking into the scenario, what should be our teacher education and who are going to be the teacher and what is to be the focus specifically in the teacher education scenario. So there are a lot of difficulties are there, but anyhow, so if a teacher wants to meet and give best to the learner in this 21st century, so 7 to 8 different paradigm, that means things have to be taken care of by the teacher. So one thing, because in the 21st, we in the pandemic situation, we have already given emphasis on digital mode of communications and interaction. Because I was listening carefully with respected Mahantiji and Pradhanji. So language play a very crucial role. The parents, schooling, and language all are interrelated in the present context. If we want to bring improvement on the part of the child, both parent and school and language play a major role. And along with that, teacher also cannot be ignored. Teacher is one of the, because today's youth face a rapidly changing world, and they can be molded more significantly. Although the students are or the children are coming to the school for 6 to 8 hours, but teacher's role is not minimum. It is also have a very predominant role for bringing improvement on the part of the learners' learning. Or quality learning can take place if the teacher, because if the teacher does not have anything, cannot be given to the students. So teacher must have to have something to give to the students in the educational institution. So looking into all these ground realities, so we can say that 7 to 8 different paradigm or areas where the present teacher, they have to give emphasis. We are giving. We are not saying that in the present teacher, they are not giving any emphasis. In the present context, whatever we are doing, but you have to revisit, re-emphasize, and rethink, re-evaluate, re-examine, and give our adequate and significant attention for improving the quality of learning on the part of the learners. So looking into the ground reality, you see, instructional planning, say for example, we are doing it. Our friends, those who are pre-service teachers, they are going, preparing, discussing, sharing, and improving. All the things are doing. But as a present, after getting a job, teacher, generally, what is happening? we are not that much serious in the teaching learning process. Planning, we are saying theoretically, but practically, sometimes we can say that reflections on the part of the teacher is to some extent what I perceive myself in the educational scenario, whether it is primary stage or foundation stage or preparatory stage or secondary stage or any stage in higher education also. Some of us or many of the teachers, that means they are not adequately preparing proper plan for executions in the improvement of the quality learning on the part of the learner. That is why reflect a long term and short term plan for instruction is a must, and that must be emphasized. Because if suppose all of us, we are in the teaching profession, because to whom I am observing, we are all in the teaching profession. Even Tapas Babu, he was, now he is a administrator in the SCRT, but in a teaching profession. We all of us. So that is why we can say that planning for classroom transaction, planning for, we can say that different ways of executing the content before the learner in a significant manner for improving the high class learning on the part of learner is emerged. Because all the learners, even if I was listening, because multilingual students, it is a resource coming, students coming from different communities, maybe from knowing the language Odia or Telugu, or because if outside, because in the English medium schools, even in international, that means schools, varieties of students are coming to the same class. So one is, as a teacher, I have to think differently. I cannot have to a very constantly similar type of instructional planning or plan for execution for all times too. I have to change myself. Well, if I have to change myself, I can give best things to my own learner. So I have to take all the learners not equally in each footing, because learners coming from different background, different social conditions, different families, and different ideas, different facilities, and they are thinking the cognitive capital or cognition, maybe some of them they are better than the others. But I have to, as a teacher, I have to look after each and every one of my own class. Maybe 30 or 40 or 20 or whatever numbers are there, I have to see. That is why a meticulous instructional planning is a must. If I don't want, if I don't have, so I cannot address the issues of the different stakeholders of my class more judiciously and effectively. That is why instructional best way of, that means using my appropriate instructional plan for giving the best to the learner is a must. Knowledge, these traditional things are what I am saying, content and curriculum. I must have the conceptual understanding about the content and curriculum. Whatever I am going to transact before the learner, I must have adequate, I must have very solid foundation stored. Almost all the ideas, because every day changes are taking place. The concept which I am going to present not necessarily mean that the students, those who are sitting in front of me, they might not have known because of digital facilities. All facilities are available in front of us. Neither the parents are getting information, the same information the teachers are getting, same information the students are getting, all are accumulating from different sources. Now sources are open, anybody can do at any point of time, and collecting different type of informations before coming to the class for getting the information. So knowledge about the content and knowledge about the curriculum, transacting the curriculum, knowledge about the subject matter, and regularly updating my own knowledge in my own areas is a must. If I don't want to do that, so I'll be failure one. The teaching profession is always provide directly or indirectly the input to the teacher to be updating his or her own knowledge, because teacher's role in the changing scenario of school education, that must be co-opted. Because our teacher education program and students curriculum and teacher education curriculum must have the synchronization. If we can able to have a synchronization, so I must be, or the teacher education curriculum must be updated, teacher must be updated, students, that means they must be updated, and the curriculum of students and a school and a teacher's curriculum must be linked to each other. That is why, that is also the need of the hour, because in the changing scenario of 21st century, different type of skills have to be, that means embraced by all the teacher. So looking into that content and curriculum must have the linkage to become a good teacher, and a good teacher can bring a lot of changes in the scenario, in the system of teaching and learning in the classroom setup, and bring improvement on the part of the learners learning. And now innovations or teaching learning strategy, I have to change myself. My teaching strategies should not be uniform for all times to come. I have to change, I have to innovate, because I cannot say that 5P model is better than 7E model, or activity method is better than concept learning, concept map learning, or concept map approach is better than the, we can say that discovery learning, or vice versa. All the learning, because teacher is the most important innovator and can give the best to the students if the teaching learning strategy is known to him or her more adequately and effectively. Because classroom is a compositions of class, bench, desk, and the material facilities, or we can human resources, and we can say that all the technical gadgets, all these combinations. So how, because it cannot be provided in the similar manner in the same or in the same class in all times to come in different places. Because all the teachers, I may be having post-graduation degree, and all of us may be having post-graduation degree, and we have suppose teaching mathematics subject to the 7th class students in different that means places. We are not teaching the same. I may be teaching in one way, and my colleague of another place also teaching the same content in different way. So who is teaching what? So that is why the teacher is the best, and teacher can change his or her own teaching learning strategies depending upon the looking into the ground framework, whoever are available. Because in government school, generally we are saying government school students are coming from a very, that means below socio-economic poverty condition student. That is not the fact. Whoever are there in front of me. Because if you have to heredity and environment, if you have to study, whoever are coming to the in front of me. So if I am a teacher, my teaching strategies I have to change depending upon the students who are available. So that is why the teacher must use varieties of instructional strategies. Sometimes ICT may be helpful, sometimes verbal presentations will be helpful, sometimes a video presentation will be helpful, sometimes writing on the blackboard will be helpful, sometimes verbal and non-verbal combinations, or we can say that maintaining inclusive setup in the educational institution, inclusion, varieties of things. So I have to adapt and change. I have to be in that particular bent of mind. If I can having that bent of mind, so hopefully I can able to bring changes on the part of the, that means what is required to be learned by a learner, that is to be given. So the strategies of teaching and learning must have to be befitting at the time of requirement for a particular class. Same subject, plus, minus, or we can say that ratio, some is taught in class 7, class 8, class 9, class 10, but degree of presentation should be vary, and that must be known, the content mastery and the innovative way of presentation, what is to be done that particular point of time, who are in front of me, who are my consumers, and what approach I have to follow for better learning, that must be known to me. Then only I can able to do more effectively and scientifically. And then we can say that school management and classroom management. Because sometimes the classroom environment, classroom management, school scenario also play a greater role. Because who are the persons? Sometimes we can say, because changing role of a teacher, the head teacher is there, or principal may be there in the educational institution. So he or she must be accommodative of all the friends, those who are in that organization. Because same classroom and similar type of classroom, and whatever the thinking process is there with a head teacher of a particular school, similar type of thinking with all the head teachers may not be there. So that is why. So judiciously we can say that use of classroom resources have to be thought of. And we can say that regularity and punctuality and disciplined way of presenting. By chance somebody is taking one class, cannot claim that he is taking the class regularly and classroom management effective. Because teacher must be punctual and regular and should have, that means we can say a disciplined way of thinking, so that by the way of interaction between the students and teacher in a class, the classroom scenario, the resources available in the classroom, because sometimes we are saying that students peer tutoring is in the national education policy, peer tutoring is encouraged. ICT is additional resources input for improving the learning. It's one of the that resources have been thought of to be introduced and used in the rampantly in the educational institution. So we don't know, because always all times everything will be same, then only teaching learning process will be there. That may not be possible. So that is why I have to change my thought processes and ideologies, and my way of interaction with the student differently to bring improvement. So that is why, whatever it may be. So point of saying is that, so that is also play a classroom management, school head, relationship between the school heads with the other colleagues, and how a beautiful way the school is taking care of the students, all are directly or indirectly contributing for effective functioning on the part of the learner's learning. That is why teacher is to think differently in that way in the educational institution. Even professional development, I can say, 2 days before we were discussing the professional development skills, what is to be taken care of by a teacher. So you see, when professional level, so this is one way of professional development, whatever the national seminar or symposium or workshop, or that means participation, sharing and caring, or engaging in different type of activities, innovative way of understanding the concept, or paper presentation or paper publication, or we can research activities, all are, we can say that professionalism, professional bent of mind is to be encouraged in the educational institution. That is why in the national education policy, CPD, continuous professional 50 hours, but that is again freedom is given to the state and district authorities or the school councils. They can design what type of professional development 50 hours they have to utilize for the benefit of the persons as well as benefit of the organization. So that is why professionalism is a must, and that whatever we are doing, that is also professional development on the part of the teacher, that is a must. Because getting one time, that means ideas in the pre-service courses, it is not helpful for all times to come. That is why every year 50 hours of CPD, professional development plan and program, is to be chalked out. Either it is locally, or we can say that CRCC level or BRCC level or DO level or district level or state level. Every state they are planning, and whatever Odisha is going to plan may not necessarily for West Bengal or may not be necessarily for Jharkhand, but they have to design their own action plan and ideas how professional capabilities of a teacher is to be enhanced, and what type of content and curriculum to be provided, so that the teachers will be well versed and updated in his or her ideas in that particular content, so that learning will be better and faster in the educational institution. That is one of the things must be. Even we can say the assessment. We were discussing some assessment. So what assessment technique? Because we have already understood, all of the colleagues, those who are sitting, assessment, somebody saying continuous and comprehensive evaluation is a must for bringing improvement on the part of the learners. So yeah, that means somebody is emphasizing school-based assessment. That school is the only unique place, and whatever facilities are available, looking into that, assessment has to be. But what I am saying is here that the assessment, that is, we can say that assessment of students' learning. So definitely, CC is all right, school-based assessment all right, but two things must be taken into consideration for understanding the actual reality and actual ideas the learner has got it. So assessment for and assessment as, these two concepts, assessment as learning and assessment for learning, how best I am taking this thing, how best a teacher is taking, mathematics teacher or science teacher or social science teachers or language teachers, how they are taking in that particular ideas in their own subject and profession, that is also vary from that person to person. In the same school, mathematics teacher is designing his or her way of assessing the learning performance, and also the science teacher or language teacher is designing and some days it's provided for mathematics, some days it's provided for language. But the designing part of the questions, but how best I'm a teacher of language, how I can able to understand listening, speaking, reading and writing skills of a student, or how can I able to understand that project, that means plus, minus, into and divisions of the students of a lower class, all depends upon the teacher. That but a particular, that means assessment for learning, continuously assessment as a learning, sharing, that means students support system themselves, or a student is evaluating the students, or peer is evaluating the peer performance. That means students, definitely there will be better way of understanding the learning performance of the, that means students more effectively. But not only that, we can say that in the 21st century, because lot of, that means your communications or yours, that means higher order thinking, or that means your vertical mobility, or we can say that, that means a different type of extraordinary problem solving skills, or we can say that teacher have to a connector as well as teacher is to be a innovator, teacher also to be a counselor in the educational institution. That role, a multiple role have to be embraced by a teacher in the teaching profession for better effective way of transaction as well as understanding the learner. Because teacher can create something, teacher can take care of the students, teacher can, we can say that, motivate the learner in the class, teacher can be considered as a leader or a learner. Teacher is always a learner. He cannot neglect, because without learning, no effective transactions is possible, or maturity on the part of the teacher is a must. Even because in the traditional setup or in the ancient timing, it was considered as a guru, but in the present context, the teacher role is little bit that means improved manner, because teacher is a researcher, or teacher is a monitor, teacher is a transmitter, whatever you say, language I don't want to say, but he or she definitely has to play a very important role for strengthening the cognitive capitals of the learner in the education, because cognition is much more important, and all values and systems of thinking, or we can say that, that is listening to the student's voice, or improving the communication skills, or partner with the colleagues as well as with the students, become and to becoming a role models before the students, or we can set the tone of their classmates. Sometimes setting arrangement, or initiating some sorts of, that means classroom specific related subject concept improvement or conceptual understanding, all becomes all the things, we can say that sometimes teacher has to do different. That is why teacher is a learner in the present context. So all in all, if I can say that the teacher in the 21st century, in the changing concept of the school, has to understand 5 important skills. That is my vision. That is interpersonal skills. That is to be embraced by the teacher. What is interpersonal skills? That means communication capabilities, or organizational capabilities, or teamwork, or sociability. So the interpersonal skills must be embraced by a teacher. So then only better, that means school system will be improved, because changing school system has to be changed. So teacher has to embrace, that means interpersonal skills. Then intrapersonal skills, the teacher has to embrace it. What is that? The self-discipline. Because unless a teacher is disciplined, nothing is going to achieve, nothing is going to, no, he may not get a respect from the student. That is why intrapersonal skills also one of the 21st century requirement on the part of the teaching professor. The teacher has to change. Teacher has to be self-disciplined. Teacher has to be flexible. Teacher has the ability to learn. Teacher has the empathy, and also the independent way of communicating to the student. That is a intra and interpersonal skills, and intrapersonal skills has to be strengthened by a teacher in the changing role of the 21st century to become a, that means a better facilitator, and better, that means a initiator for improving the quality of school education. And media and information skills, teacher has to change, because changing school scenario has changed, because now everybody is borderless education. Whatever happening here, Delhi people can know, and whatever happening here, America, USA students or teachers or anybody wants to, they can also able to. That is why media and interpersonal skills, that is also one of the need of the hour. Ability to critically evaluate and use of ICT or information technology in the educational gadget in the educational institution. So that is also to be embraced by the present teacher. That is why not only interpersonal skills, not only intrapersonal skills, but also media and literacy skills has to be one of the basic motto and shift on the part of the teachers, learning for better communications and better educational institution improvement or organizational improvement, school cultural changes or school culture improvement or students improvement is possible. That is why that is to be embraced by a teacher in the present context. Not only that, in the present scenario, whole world is now one. Global citizenship skill or global citizenship, that means we can say that the creativity, entrepreneurship, reflective thinking, and decision making, tolerance, respect to environment. We can say that. So all these different type of, because it's a very holistic perspectives. I cannot be, that means, lacking behind. My children of my class should not be lacking behind. They should not be, that means, less known, because they are also comparable and at par with the children of any part of the world. Because PISA study, I don't want to give any research evidences here. So global citizenship skills, so understanding and ability of creativity, entrepreneur, all these skills have to be changed. That is to be encouraged on the part of the students in the educational institution. Because present student is completely different, because they are much more advanced as compared to the, that means 100 years or 50 years back. Where facilities of that time, 70, 80, and facilities in 21st century is totally different. Sorry to say that all of us are not able to provide similar facility to our own children in our own home. But there is a provision. People are exposed like anything. Much more that the exposures are happening in the present context. Maybe somebody is getting 10%, somebody is getting 20%, and there is a degree of differences and degree of getting the exposure may be different. But anyhow, what I mean to say that global citizenship skill has to be embraced, and the teachers cannot say that my learning, I have to stop it here and I will not know what is happening in other parts of the coin or world, and my students should not learn only, they should know the basic things and advanced levels of ideas, what is happening and changes in the present context, that must be known to them. So looking into that, so the advanced, we can say that global citizenship skill has to be embraced by a teacher in the present context. Not only that, critical and innovative thinking skills. I have to change that, because if I want to improve the performance level, the critical thinking level, creative level, higher order thinking, problem solving ability among the students, so critical and innovative skills, I have to change myself as a teacher, because that is the demands of the day. So looking all these things, we can say that interpersonal skills, intrapersonal skills, and we can say that media and the technology information skills, global citizenship skills, and critical and innovative skills has to be, that means, realized by the teacher himself or herself for effective transaction. And in addition to that, well, every state they are having their own priority. Education system, the aims of education is not confined. It may be personal, it may be social, it may be vocational. It may be teachers, we cannot give what they do not have. I have already said this sentence is very, very important. If I don't have, I can give anything to my learner. That is why other skills may be defined by the state or schools or DO, BO or CRCC, BRCC or head teacher sometimes. That is also to be, that means, required. So friends, what I mean to say that there are these 5 important learning skills in the 21st century that is to be embraced: interpersonal, intrapersonal, media, global, and critical and innovative thinking skills. In addition to that, The states, they are having their own, that means philosophy, they're having their own, that means facilities, having their own thinking. But anyhow, Gaurav madam has come, so that is why I will stop it here. So friends, thank you very much, because this is the timing 1:35. So I will stop it here. I could have shown many things, but time is not very awkward timing. So friends, wish you all the best and happy new year to each and every members. And if you want to improve quality, so love children and love teaching. These two are, if you have to love your children and love your teaching, you can do and undo everything in the educational institution. With these few words, thank you very much to all the friends and colleagues, those who are provided me with this opportunity. So that is why changing the role of the teacher is, the teacher is a controller, teacher is a promoter, teacher is a resource person, teacher is an organizer, teacher is also a participant for providing this. Tutor, teacher is on the part of the. I'll stop it here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Extensive insights on teachers' role in changing education scenario. Access to such insights would not have been possible without you. So thank you very much, sir. Next, we have amongst us a specialist in special education. She possesses a multitude of experiences in special education and in psychology. And also she is an international speaker on numerous occasions. So we have our guest of honor of this occasion, Professor Gaurama IP Madam, Head of Department of Education, RI Bhubaneswar. Please, ma'am, you can address the gathering now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona Lisa. Thank you very much. Very good afternoon to everyone, respected dignitaries, beloved organizers, and my dear participants. I thank the organizers for making me a part of this celebration of organizing this national seminar and giving me an opportunity to listen to some of the finest speakers. I was listening to Mohanty ji, Pradhan ji, and Professor Panda just now. I'm sorry, sir had to stop when when I joined. I had some issues with my laptop. I'm doing it through my phone. Hope it is all right. The audio and video are fine, Mona Lisa. Can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. The topic given to me by the organizers is education of children with disabilities. So I thought of focusing on identifying the abilities. We say differently abled, special ability. So when we say special abilities, the different ability, we have to develop an ability or a focus or a sensitivity to identify the ability among everybody. So education represents an accomplishment in the lives of every individual, and this statement goes without argument. And it is, in fact, it is an extraordinary accomplishment for persons with a disability. And scientific attempts to educate children with disabilities originated during the late 18th century and the initial part of the 19th century. And that is where this all began with the experimentation of Jean-Marc Gaspel-Itard, famously known as Itard, a French physician who took effort to educate a wild boy who was running in the woods. His 5 years of experimentation in fact, it was bringing him down to the mainstream, but we see an attempt of education in his efforts. And when he published his work in 1807, people around the world took interest in his experiment, and it opened a gateway of knowledge to many people who were interested in education. And his own student, Edward Seguin, took interest. He was inspired inspired by this, looking at the possibilities of educating children who have mental or intellectual and emotional disturbance and bringing them into the mainstream through the process of education. And Seguin moved from France to the US, and he developed a method to enhance the cognitive processes and the cognitive abilities of children with the disabilities by a special method which he devised for education by making use of the physical and sensory development through several activities.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Disconnect. So we are all familiar with the effort of Maria Montessori, who with all her innovation, who's known to the world now, and her method is being practiced all over the world. She developed by the Seguin's work influenced her. She is an Italian pediatrician turned to be an educator, and she invented a unique method of training intellectually and culturally deprived children. Her approach emphasized self-development through a specially designed, her work was designing material that would help the cognition of children, especially children with the disabilities and the culturally deprived children. Development of the, when we look at all three examples which was happening almost 200 years back, we see that development of senses was the key to all these innovations which came in education, focusing on education of children with disabilities, though it opened a gateway for education of all. Thus, stimulating the senses to recognize, to receive, process, store, use and reuse the information becomes the key to cognition. And parenting in the initial years, theoretically it is assumed that in the initial years, parenting will promote this cognitive processes, and this, the foundation which is laid in the initial period of the child development, will be taken further by the process of schooling, leading to further enhancement of the cognitive development. At this juncture, I will give two examples of separating 100 years, like the 1900s and the 2000s, and let us all together analyze, interpret and draw inferences how parenting and schooling can contribute to the process of cognition. In the year 1880, a girl was born, and before she celebrated her second birthday, she lost her hearing and vision for an illness. Her effort of her parents led them to a stalwart of that time, Alexander Graham Bell, and through him they found a teacher, Anne Sullivan, who took the cognitive processes by stimulating all her sensory organs, though she did not have two important senses which we think is gateway to knowledge, hearing and vision. We know she is Helen, and Helen Keller, famously known as, and she when she completed her schooling, that was in the year 1889, she wrote the entrance exam to join a college. Though she scored highest in English, the college authorities were apprehensive of admitting her to the college. We all know, even now the stigma continues. The moment we know children with a disability, there is always a feeling our belief is limited to accept that they can learn. And the same was there in the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century and the end of 19th century, where Helen Keller had to write to the authorities, though there were people who were supporting her and requesting the college authorities to give her the seat. She herself wrote a letter which gave her an entry into the college. And I quote here, she wrote in her letter, "I realize that there are obstacles in the way of receiving college education for me. That is great. But, dear sir, a true soldier does not admit defeat before the battle." With this letter, she earned an entry into the college with her teacher, Annie Sullivan, who was constantly with her to help understand and interpret her. It was more for interpretation of her language. She became a communicator, very good communicator. And during her college years, she wrote books and her strength was in language. But even now, we think children with hearing impairment have limitation in language. And we know Helen Keller's strength was her language, both expressive and comprehensive, her receptive and expressive, both after her surgery and losing her limbs, and in the physical disability category, she got third rank in the examination and she earned a seat in the medical college, in a prestigious KEM medical college in Mumbai. But the college authorities were reluctant to give her the seat, though they said she has, in the entrance exam, she has qualified. She is fit to enter the college. But their apprehension was that she does not have both her limbs and she will not have not be able to climb the stairs of the huge institution to run from lab to class and take further her medical examination. And she had to fight, and ultimately she had to go to the Bombay High Court, where the judge had to say, when she can climb the stairs of highest justice, she can climb the stairs of the college to reach the class. And with this judgment, she got the seat in medical and she has completed her MBBS. And she has, right now, she has also completed her master's in pathology, and she is a motivational speaker and a practicing medical professional. With these two examples, I just wanted to bring out the 100 years difference, the Itard, time of Itard when he began scientific way of educating children with disabilities, and then later, 100 years later, when Helen Keller showed to the world that in spite of having dual disability, she could achieve and she could do something remarkable which most of us are not able to do. And after 100 years, we have the example of what just now I was narrating is of Roshan Jawad, a medical professional now, where she had to fight and get entry and be successful in her education and her professional life. What do we learn from these experiences? We may have several of these examples, but still the education of children with a disability is an area that call for attention from professionals even today, because throughout the world, it is not just in India, we still have the stigma. The moment we think a child with a disability, our belief is such that we limit their ability. If at all we can remove those limitations within our belief, parenting, schooling, we need, I'll just say one or two guidelines. You may draw several more based on your own experiences of being with students with a disability, persons with a disability who are doing lots, much more than what many of us are not able to do. One is giving them opportunity. it is not our business to say how they are climbing the stairs or how she will be learning the language. We have to give them the opportunity and see they have their own way of doing, which is again a motivation for teachers and teacher educators like us, wherein we can learn from their experience and develop that method so that other children also get benefited. Giving them opportunity, having belief in their ability, not limiting our belief the moment we see that children with disability have limitation. And we have the experiments of Itard, Seguin, and Maria Montessori, and so many others in the recent years who are showing us that children with disabilities are able to develop their cognition. And another very strange aspect is when there is a physical disability or a hearing or a visual disability, we also we underestimate their cognitive ability, and many times, time and again, they have proved, many children have proved that their cognitive ability they have an edge over. Many of them have proved this, and definitely there are children who have certain impairments in the cognitive areas, but Maria Montessori has successfully showed how their cognitive ability can be enhanced through specially designed material and the method which is known to all of us. I think we can draw further inferences, and with my interaction, a short interaction today with you, I am hopeful and I am very sure that it will open new avenues to the education of children with disabilities. Thank you. Thank you very much for your listening. Thank you to the organizers for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your talk on education for children with special needs. We learned a lot from you, ma'am, and sorry for the time delay. And this was all about today's sessions. So now I would like to request Dr. Tapas Kumar Naik, sir, Assistant Director TE and SCRT Odisha, for the concluding remarks. Please, sir.
So good afternoon, all esteemed Ajit sir, BN Panda sir, Nikam sir, Goraman ma'am, and all the organizers from Brotheraj Nagar College and ATI Baripada and Diet Baripada also. So this is a good opportunity to, this is a very learning session for me also. To have a active as a listener of the particularly parenting, cognitive processes, and the role of teacher in how to develop the skills among the learners. Just in concluding remark, I can focus on 2 to 3 things. That as an institution, home and the school, and as an individuals like parents and teachers, they have a lot of role in promoting the child, in nurturing the child, and helping the child for learning, not for teaching, helping the child for learning. So what Ajit sir, he has focused particularly the different models of the parenting. Particularly, I can say that the parents should be the enablers in the learning process, not as a spoon feeder to the child, as a person who, as a spoon feeding, gives spoon feeding to the child. So, because those parents, they feel that they thought that with certain conditions they can control the learning outcome of the children. They can give the tuition, they can provide good nutritious foods and everything. If they will provide good things, then that they can control the learning outcome of the children. But actually that is not true, because the psychological researches, if we will focus on the psychological researches, there are 2 things. The children are extremely active learners right from the beginning. And the parents as well as the teachers, they can promote that. The second thing, the brain growth of the child, that starts from the womb of the mother and that continue basically up to the adolescence period. So how to nurture the children, particularly during those days, one at the school as an institution and home as an institution. There should be a coordination between both the institutions, because from the evolutionary point of view, if we can see that the child born with genetic predispositions and that lead to learning, that the teachers and the parents, they can help the child in their learning process. But while we will see after, particularly after the Right to Education Act and the National Curriculum Framework 2005, if we can analyze, and recently the National Education Policy 2020, basically what the policy is saying and what is the actual situation at the field, at the home, there is a purely contradiction, and this is basically there is a conflict between the two agencies of education, the home and the school. While we are talking about that the school should promote the constructivist learning process, that the child should make the meaning of the concept, the child should draw the theories, the child should be active participant in the learning processes, that the what the school advocates. In the rest, in the other hand, the home advocate that there more marks, whatever the may be the situation, you may go to the tuition, you may memorize the facts, you may through any approach, you should get good marks. So this type of conflict between the two agencies of education creates a confusion in the whole system, in the whole education system, because the home in one side. So the basic thing is the role of the school is to bring a balance between the things, educate the parents, and educate the parents regarding different type of parenting things. So actually, what is the ground situation? The ground situation is that the ground reality is that what Pandit sir has highlighted in some things. So the involvement of the parents is now gradually, particularly in the rural area, that is decreasing. When the parents, they put their children to a tuition teacher, tuition master, or any other person, they think that their role is over. What the child is learning, what the child is doing, what type of learning is going on, and what type of thinkings are going on in his mind. That is the different thing. Second, the parents knowledge on the parenting and also the learning processes. That may be a digital learning, that may be a face-to-face learning. What are the parents' knowledge? What type of updated information the parents are getting regarding those type of learning? So, if we can say the illiterate parents or the literate parents, so we have to update their thinking. That is one thing. The third thing is what are the current developments in different type of in the education fields? What type of things are going on? So the fourth thing is if we will analyze the role of the parents and the role of the teacher in section 25, 24 of the Right to Education Act, there should be a continuous interaction between the parents and the teachers regarding the learning of the child. But Pandit sir has rightly has pointed out that regarding the assessment, regarding the classroom processes, what the child is doing, what are the developments in the 21st century skills, particularly the different type of communication skills, interpersonal, in all the arenas, in all the aspects, there should be a constant interaction between the teacher and the parents, and that is in the role of the teacher in the section 24 of the Right to Education Act. So those things, the parents' knowledge, we may say, the current development, say, what is the teacher's perception, we may say, the teacher's perception regarding the parents' beliefs, the teacher's perception that the parents are not educated, they cannot help the child in the learning process. So in all those things, there should be a proper awareness, there should be a proper knowledge development that should be done by the teacher and by the school. So if the school can do that, so there should be a coherence between the school and the home. regarding the learning of the child, and there should a balance we can maintain between that. Otherwise, both the institutions are they're doing different things. That will not helpful for the child in his learning process. So basically, what we can say that this conflict should be reduced. These conflicts should be there should be no conflict between the home and the school, particularly with respect to learning processes, the thinking, the beliefs about learning, and the how the parents they can take care of the child, they can take care of the learning of the children. So lastly, I can this is the we have already led. Lastly, I can focus on that. The school should create and the parents they should create such an environment where the learning can maximize where the learning of the child that can be accelerated. So we should give sufficient physical support to the child, sufficient exposure to socialization, both at the school and the home. We can develop sufficient exposure to the particular language development, basically the spoken language what Ajit sir has highlighted, and sufficient availability of objects both at the school and the, at home, where the child can manipulate and the learning processes can be we can accelerate the learning processes, we can accelerate the pace of the learning of the child. So those things can be the common thing between the home and the school, and the parent and the teachers they should sit together and they should reach at a consciousness both the learning of the child at the home and at the school that can be balanced. So these are the concluding things, particularly with respect to parenting, and the parents should be aware about that, they should be trained about that, there should be continuous dialogue between the teacher and the parents on different aspects of learning. So then we can help the child in the learning processes. Thank you very much. Thank you to the Mona Lisa ma'am and the team, particularly Jamaluddin sir and other aspects. Thanks Dr. Priyaranjan and Santra sir and Brahma sir to give me opportunity on this academy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your keen observation and for the concluding remarks. Next, I would like to request Dr. Sudarshan Santra sir to extend vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Thanks, Mona Lisa madam. Namaskar, respected dignitaries. Present in the jointly organized national seminar on parenting, schooling, and cognition. Sir, it is my pleasure and privilege to extend vote of thanks and gratitude to our national and international level intellectuals. Sir, we are really grateful to find the presence of our eminent versatile personality, Professor Ajit Kumar Mahanti sir, former professor of ICSSR, JNU New Delhi. Sir, I am fortunate enough to work with you also at Fulbani and Osepa Bhubaneswar. Sir, I extend my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of myself and on behalf of the organizing institutions. Sir, your inspiring deliberation on concerned topic will ignite the participants and the viewers to reflect on and act on them. Again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our dignified intellectual, Professor Nityananda Pradhan sir, RI Principal RI Bhopal. Sir, your deliberation is really motivating and heart-touching to the participants and the viewers. Sir, the institution is really indebted to you finding your presence in this seminar. We are also very much grateful to find with us as a guide, philosopher, and motivator of our personal and professional careers. He is very popular and well known to everybody's. He is our loving Professor B.N. Ponda sir, Dean of Research, RI Bhubaneswar. Sir, I again extend my gratitude for your presence and deliberation and inspiration. I also extend my thanks and gratitude to Professor Gaurama Madam, IP Head of Department of Education, RI Bhubaneswar. Madam, your presence and deliberation really inspiring and motivating to all of us and our viewers. So again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude, ma'am, on behalf of the institutes. Finally, I extend my thanks and gratitude to Dr. Tapas Kumar Naik, Assistant Director, SCRT, Odisha, whose support and presence really motivating to the teacher educators, especially teacher training institutes of the state. Uh, Last but not the least, I extend my thanks to Dr. Jamaluddin sir, Dr. Satyendra Bakshi sir, Dr. PC Brahma, and other organizing members of the seminar, especially Monalisa madam, Priyaranjan Das sir, Devasmita madam, and Vijay Mahapatra, Lipika madam, and others, those who have supported a lot for the success of the seminar. Thank you all to give me the opportunity and the space to extend my thanks and gratitude to our eminent personalities. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for extending the vote of thanks and acknowledging the contribution of each and every person involved in this national seminar. Next, here we will depart, and next we have the presentation sessions, technical sessions. So all the paper presenters are given the links, Google Meet links, and they'll join on their respective links for presenting the papers. So there was a break, but I think we are already delayed. So let us all join for the technical session. And thank you everybody for joining us for this session today, and have a nice day.